This is London Tonight with Ben Scotchbrook.
Good evening to you. The only way to force Sepp Blatter out of FIFA is if every black player in every country, refuses to play in the next international game. QPR's manager Neil Warnock today adding his voice to the growing chorus calling for FIFA's president to resign. Mr. Blatter sparked international fury earlier this week when he said racist abuse on the football pitch should be solved with a handshake. He has apologised today for what he now calls unfortunate words, but that's not enough for his opponents, black or white. We'll speak to the former West Ham player Bobby Barnes after this report from Marcus Powell, a warning his report contains flash photography.
As the president of world football, Sepp Blatter handed over the last World Cup, and he won't let go, determined to hand over the next, despite issuing a humble apology for suggesting that players racially abused on the pitch should simply shake hands and get on with it.
I'm sorry, and I regret that my statements earlier this week have resulted in an unfortunate situation and has taken this dimension. I am committed to the fight against racism, and I have no doubt about that.
His original comments provoked a storm of protests from friend and foe, but the head of FIFA remains unmoved.
I think the comments were appalling. I think a lot of people have said that. I don't think the comments were very, very good for this game.
Former Arsenal and England striker Ian Wright was due to present a FIFA awards ceremony, but he's now pulled out in protest.
We're talking about abusing somebody for their colour and then, walking off the pitch and shaking hands, walking off the pitch and feeling, well, that's going to be all right. That's not something that's ever going to be all right, and for him to say something like that just proves how out of touch this man is.
Blatter took the World Cup to South Africa, saying that proves he's no racist. But pictures now suddenly put on FIFA's website made England's Rio Ferdinand say he wanted to cover his eyes, starting an online row with Blatter. Rio commented, "To say what you said about racism in football spoke volumes of your ignorance to the subject." Blatter replied, "FIFA has a long-standing and proud record in the area of anti-discrimination, which will continue." Rio's brother Anton Ferdinand is at the centre of a race row with England captain John Terry, and Blatter's South African friend hit back at England for letting him captain the team while he's under investigation for racism.
It is therefore not helpful for any side to have honoured him with the captain's armband, was the indiscretion against another player of another race is still so fresh in mind.
Anton's manager at Queen's Park Rangers unusually kept quiet on the race row.
I have my own opinion, but I don't want to tell you that because it would get me in trouble.
I'd love you to tell me what
I know you would.
John Terry.
So would everybody else.
Are you sure you...
I'm writing a book at the moment. It's out in about 2 years. I should have just about packed in by then, I think.
But he was more forthcoming about the only way he sees that Blatter could be removed from his position at the head of world football.
There's nobody going to sack him. So we waste all that time. Unless there's a major something like like I've said about black players refusing to play in the next international, I don't see any other way of getting rid of him.
So he may be the last of the dinosaurs, but this one is certainly avoiding extinction. Marcus Powell, London Tonight.
Bobby Barnes, thank you very much for coming in. Now, the Deputy Chief Executive of the Professional Footballers Association, so the obvious question to you is, would you advise your members to boycott an England game in a hope of getting Sepp Blatter to resign?
Well, to be honest, Ben, I think if you'd have had this conversation 24 hours ago, I think you might have got a much stronger answer from myself than you actually had today, because I think the issue has moved on in the sense that I think over the last 24, 36 hours, we've seen a lot of very, very justified anger and indignation about what were ridiculous comments from Blatter. What we've seen from him today is what, on the face of it, and what we hope he intends to be a heartfelt apology.
But they're just words, aren't they?
Well, I think it's easy to say that, and obviously the easy thing for Blatter to do would be to say, well, look, I'm sorry, let's move on. I think what we would like to see is that to try and give him the opportunity to say, well, look, are you as sincere in your actions as you've actually been in your words today? Because words clearly are not going to be enough to deal with the damage that actually has been caused over the last few days, where a great deal of hurt and a great deal of distress has been caused to a lot of people. I think Mr. Blatter needs to demonstrate that, you know, talk is cheap, and that he really needs to take this opportunity and show that he's going to do some real action, some positive action, to actually show that FIFA is as committed to the anti-racism bodies as the rest of us are around the country.
The problem is, though, that history suggests that he won't change, because he has a track record of offending all sorts of people, women, gay people, various races. I mean, and he might say sorry and move on, but he still goes on as the president of FIFA.
Well, I think, as is referred to in the VT there, where Neil made a comment, he is very much appearing to be in an unassailable position. And for those of us in the football world who have to engage and have to work with him, sometimes you have to say, well, look, how best can we get a positive out of what has clearly been a very negative situation? And one would hope that if he is genuine in what he says, and we take that with a large pinch of salt, we hope that he will be, then perhaps we can turn this into a positive situation and actually see FIFA actually putting some real resource and real energy into furthering the cause. That I think what's been a really positive thing in this country, and where it's probably been different from other countries, has been the fact that there's been a real upsurge of indignation in this country, which perhaps hasn't been shared around the rest of the world.
It's yes or no. Do you think he should resign? Yes or no?
I think if you'd have asked me that yesterday, I would have said yes. Based on the circumstances yesterday, I think he was in a position where he needed to.
You reckon he deserves another chance?
I think what we need to do is perhaps let's wait and see.
All right, Bobby Barnes, we will do just that. That's all we can do. Thank you very much indeed.
Thank you.
So, lots of people making their feelings known on Mr. Blatter today, and we would love to hear what you think about it all. Should he resign? Is he bringing football into disrepute? Does it matter what he thinks? And what about John Terry? Is it a bit rich that the FA is condemning Sepp Blatter and yet allowing a man even accused of racist abuse to play as England's captain? You can email us at londontonight@itvlondon.com, and we're also on Twitter. Get in touch by tweeting your message followed by @LondonTonight. Or you can text us. Start your message with the word London and then send it to 63332. Texts cost 25p plus one standard network rate message, and messages must be received by 6:25 p.m. I hope to read out some of your comments a little later. OK, still to come.